And so in your, I think in your handout, you have an article from the Wall Street Journal about entitled "What Your Employees Don't Know Will Hurt You." The article was written by Karen Berman, Joe Knight, the same people who wrote the book that you read for this chapter, Financial Intelligence. So I'd like to just show of hands, how many of you share financials with your employees? Any financials with your employees? Couple of you. So Julie, what numbers do you share and who gets to see them?
So we do it in an all staff meeting, and we share all our above the line and below the line numbers, all of our revenue and all of our expenses. Some of our best ideas for, when we have to look at cutting expense come from our employees, that they can offer something or a solution. They feel like they're in the know. So I share all of them.
Okay, good. Who else had their hand up? Who else shares financials? Yep. Eleanor, you share what numbers and who gets to see them?
I share for proposals that we're putting together, so bids. I don't basically how much we're bidding for different things, but I don't share overall financials. And I'm very careful about what I show, because obviously there's salary relevant data, so you don't want people to see what other people are getting.
Okay.
Yeah, just to go back on that, I don't share any salaries, but there is the labor expense as a total number.
Yeah. So the majority, my experience is majority of small businesses do not share financials, or if they do, they share very little financial information. There's a study I saw recently that said 47% of employees are unfamiliar with their company's financial performance. In other words, they don't know how their companies are doing. Why do you think so few small businesses share financials? Anybody? Why are we hesitant to share financials?
Does that data take in consideration employee-owned companies? And the answer to your question is that they don't want to see the dualies that are driving around. Sorry about that.
That's okay. It takes into consideration all companies. Clearly, employee-owned companies would be sharing financials, but that's a very small percentage of companies that are employee-owned. And when you say dualies, explain that to me, what that means, Helen. That they don't.
I'm sorry. It's a big truck in Texas, so
Yeah.
sorry about that.
Okay, so they don't want their employees to know how much money they're making. Yeah, so that's a common fear that I hear from my clients is, I don't want my employees to know how much money we're making, or how profitable we are, or how fast we're growing. What else would prevent a business from sharing financials?
So if the business is not doing so well, that it could have a negative impact on the employees.
Yeah, the flip side is if my business isn't doing well, I may be concerned that if I share that information, they may get worried. They may want to go work someplace else. Yeah, and so that makes sense. I also find some companies are hesitant to share financials because they're worried that information may get out to their competitors, may get out to their vendors, may get in the wrong hands, and we worry about that. Going back to the idea, worried that that if we're doing well, they may ask for a raise, or they may want more money. There was an interesting study that was done by SHRM, the Society for Human Resource Management, and what they found: small businesses, 50% of all employees believed that their companies were earning a 50% net profit or higher. Let me repeat that, because this was an astounding number. 50% of employees in small companies believe that their companies were generating a 50% net profit or higher. I don't know of a small business on the planet that earns 50% net profit. Imagine that for every dollar sale, 50 cents went into your pocket. It just doesn't happen in any small business. 10 to 20% net profit is good for most small businesses. 20 to 30% is considered remarkable as a net profit. But the average employee believes that their company is wildly profitable. That's what that statistic tells me. Average employee believes that their company is wildly profitable, and Helen and Mike and Julie are all driving big cars, living in big houses, making tons of money. That's the average mindset of an employee in a small company.
That's pretty close to gross margins.
It is very close. Yeah, except they believe it's net margin. Yeah.